Good morning, everybody. My name is Giulia Millanta, and I am Italian from Florence, Italy. So I guess instead of saying good morning, I will say buongiorno. If you guys can say buongiorno with me, buongiorno, then we're all on the same Italian page. So today I'm going to tell you a story. The story of, well, the title of this, let's say if this were a song, the title of the story will be Follow the Sound of Your Feet. I'm going to tell you a story about a girl and her father. The girl was named Giulia Millanta, coincidentally, and the father was named Luigi Millanta. The two of them, I think there's always a special relationship between a father and a daughter. I've seen it so many times, and ours was no exception. We were just two kind of kindred spirits. I was a tomboy, and my dad and I used to go out on adventures to make my mom worry sick all the time, like rafting and climbing mountains and, you know, the craziest stuff all the time, which also taught me how to be kind of brave and courageous about things and think outside the box. So I spent my childhood with him. We would spend a lot of time together, like two rascals, two partners in crime. And I used to also get sick often. Nothing major, but tonsils and, you know, kid stuff. And my dad was always so against, like, he hated Barbies. I had Barbies, but he couldn't stand Barbies. So my sister and I always had to be creative, be engaged and do things with our hands, with our creativity and whatnot. So one morning, I was sick at home with my nanny, and it's like, instead of parking me in front of the TV, it's like, hey, here's my nylon string guitar, and here's a couple of chords. And he taught me two chords. E minor and D, if you're curious and if you know music. And he taught me this Spanish song. And so I spent the morning just going like this and practicing those two chords. And then he would come back from work and I would show him my progress. And we would play songs together. There's actually a recording of me at age 5 singing Scarborough Fair. It's a tape cassette, and it sounds like a creepy horror movie. I kid you not, it's like, as a teenager, something happened to me, also as a result of this fascination for adventures and dangerous things. I used to ride horses, and I fell off a horse one day. The horse was very excited. I was too, but I was unprepared, and I fell off a horse, and I broke my skull. And after 3-4 days in a coma, I started getting better. And after 10 days in the hospital, they were like, okay, I think she's fine. She can go home. And the professor, the chief of surgery, of neurosurgery, talked to my parents. And he said, well, if this were my kid, and by the way, I have a kid the same age as Giulia, I wouldn't be satisfied just like that. I would take her into the OR and open up and make sure that everything is okay. And my parents really trusted this man. He was like a leading authority in neurosurgery and whatnot, and so they did. The surgery was really long. It went really well. And when it opened my skull, he found there was a tiny little piece of bone resting on a vein, which is a ticking bomb. Like, imagine, it could have exploded any time, like a week later, a month later, 3 years later, or yesterday as I was at H-E-B doing grocery shopping, you know, boom, and game over. I didn't realize any of this as I was in the hospital, because I was 12, because I was loved, because I had so many candies in my nightstand drawer, and everybody was so nice to me. And my dad used to be with me pretty much every night, and he would read me bedtime stories, and all my family and friends would visit. So for me, it was like, I don't see what the big deal is, except for I spent 40 days in that hospital. And I pretty much saw people die every other day. And later, as I left the hospital, and I started with all the follow-up visits, I started slowly realizing how deep and how the gravity and how serious it was that I could have died. And also that I was a 1%. I am a 1%, because normally after something like that, you don't really recover, and I'm fine. I mean, I'm a little cuckoo, but that was even before the accident. Little by little, I started putting the pieces together, and I was like, okay, that happened, and I'm alive. What does it mean? This has to mean something, because I'm alive, and I'm good, and I'm great, and I'm healthy, and I have a giant scar on my head, and that could have gone wrong. There was a fork in my life. There was a major fork. There was a before and an after. They could have not been an after. And I thought, wow, life is short. This means that I'm lucky, and I was offered a second chance, and I want to do something special with my life. There's a quote by Yogi Berra that says, when you come to a fork, take it. And I took that fork. I was like, yes, this is my yes to life. I'm going to make it special. I'm going to do everything I can. Okay, life happens right here and right now, and I'm going to cherish and make it special. I'll kiss every moment on its lips. Life unfolds at my fingertips. At this point, I'm a young adult, and I am about to go to college. And since I've been surrounded by doctors, by dying people, and since I wanted to make my life really special and meaningful, what do? I just enrolled in medical school, obviously. And everybody in my family was like, just, yay, awesome, we're gonna have a doctor in our family. I started medicine in Italy 6 years. The first year I was in the anatomy class. We were doing autopsies, and right in front of a big femur, which is this one, I was talking to this guy. We were in a study group, and we were introducing one another. First year of college, what's your name? What's your name? Gastone Pansini. 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 Are you by chance the son of Professor Pansini, the neurosurgeon? Yeah, that's my dad. Wow. I was like, okay. I seriously, every time I think about it, I get just chills. I'm like, you saved my life. Yeah, well, not yet. No, your existence saved my life, because you exist, and your dad decided to operate on me, and he saved my life. So I told him the whole story, and he was like blown away. And I was like, so thank you to your dad, and thank you for existing. You didn't know, but you were a major part of my life. And so anyway, medical school was fun, but after the first year I was like, I don't know if I like this. And obviously I would talk to my dad, because my dad was my best friend, was my kindred spirit, was my person. And I was like, Dad, I don't know. I just, I want to explore other things. I want to play music. I'm starting to develop this love for music. It's like, awesome. This is so awesome. You just keep studying medicine, and you're in your free time, you play music. All right. And so I kept going, because his word was his word, like, yes, Father. So I kept going, all straight A's, because yes, Father, everybody had to be perfect. And I started to get so, I was suffocating. I was trapped. I felt like I was on this train that makes no stops. Like, I'm gonna do the next exam, I'm gonna take my degree, I'm gonna specialize in something. I'm going to find a decent man. I'm going to marry the man. I'm going to have kids. And then I'm going to die in the same town I was born. And I was like, no. No. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I wanted to be when I was 12. And I said, I'm going to live life to the fullest. And so after 4 years of medicine, out of 6, all straight A's, I went back to my dad over the phone, all our conversations, because he was a busy man. And I'm like, Dad, I can't. I want to explore music. I want to deepen my education in music. I want to be a musician. And this is what I'm doing. Now I'm not asking you for your permission. This is what I need to do. And he said, well, I see. It's all really beautiful, but you will be unhappy for the rest of your life. You're making the biggest mistake of your life, and I will never have your back. And that was like his mic drop, basically. And I dropped the phone, and I was like, okay. I was in Florence at the time. I left. I was living with my mom. I left. I just got in my car and drove for however many hours, I can't remember, crying and going like, I broke my skull. This fracture is nowhere near that fracture. This is the biggest fracture of my life. And it was just devastating. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to be, what to be, and how. And so I decided to move to Barcelona. Because I was like, why not? Might as well go somewhere where I don't know anyone, since it appears to be that from this moment on, I'm going to just be me, myself, and I, only counting on myself, standing on my 2 feet. So I might as well just move to a different country, learn a new language, and live life. And that's what I did. And it was a lot of fun. Barcelona's fun, a little too much fun sometimes. And I started being a full-time musician, just playing some shows, busking on the street, living life. I found an apartment, I found friends, I learned the language, all of that. And here's the big thing about that moment in my life, that I started feeling beautiful. Not, look at me, I'm pretty beautiful, but beautiful, like aligned, like this is me. I like me, I like this. Obviously I was really sad because my dad and I were not talking anymore. And so I lost my person. But I was also I had this feeling of, this is what I should be doing. After a year and a half in Barcelona, a friend I was working with and recording some of my songs, because at that point was writing, he calls me and we got offered a record deal. So I go back to Italy to make this record with this Italian label. I am back in Italy. And I was feeling good because I was doing what I wanted. I was being a musician. And here's one quote that I love by Martha Graham, the dancer, that says, "Your expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist. The world will not have it. And it's not up to you to determine whether it's good or bad. It's not you to compare it to any other expression. It's just for you to be doing it and keep the channel open." And that's exactly what I was doing. Obviously with a lot of self-doubt, but that's what I was doing. And I was feeling beautiful, and I was feeling like, okay, regardless of expectations, regardless of what people think I should do, becoming a doctor, obviously, I'm just following the sound of my feet. I'm just doing what I think is good for Giulia. Go crazy running through the streets. Go follow the sound of your own feet. Go crazy running through the streets. Go follow the sound of your own feet. And never say it's too late. Never say it's never say it's too late. At this point, I'm back in Florence. I became a full-time musician. I had a little bit of what ifs. Like, okay, is this gonna work out? I mean, obviously I wanna be a musician. And it's also scary, because I can't count on anyone. What if this goes wrong? Maybe I should become a doctor. Maybe I should take that degree in medicine. So I did. I took that degree in medicine. I didn't tell anyone in my family. I was supporting myself as a full-time musician, teaching in 2 schools and playing shows around town in Italy, branching out in Switzerland and Germany. And I silently went back to medical school to take my degree in medicine. And what was really interesting about that is as soon as they were like, Giulia Millanta, doctor in medicine, summa cum laude, obviously, because you have to be perfect. I was like, nope, thanks. Taking my little piece of paper that my mom loves, and she hung it in my bedroom, my teenage bedroom. And I'm like, no, thank you. That's not. Now I know. Now I know for sure. Several thousand euros later and countless hours later, now I know for sure, and I can keep going. This is me. I'm a full-time musician. And life was pretty good. I was living right outside of Florence in this tiny little apartment on the hills in Chianti. And I was teaching in 2 schools, and I was playing shows, and life was good. I was missing my dad because we were not talking. This was like 5 years later. It would be just, hi, happy birthday, or hi, Merry Christmas, really awkward, really cold, like a distant relative type thing. And it was really hurting me. One rainy morning, my sister calls me. She's like, there's something wrong with Dad. What do you mean? He's not doing well. I think he's sick. Long story short, a whole month of really high fever, skin rash, pain, and losing weight, and all that good stuff. And I was like, all right. I started talking to the doctors because he didn't want me in his life. But I was a doctor, so at least that I could go behind his back and go talk to my colleagues and go like, hey, can you show me the charts and whatnot? I was reading that chart and I was going, this is probably 6 months. So what do I do now? The man didn't want me back in his life, just superficially. And I was, one day I went to visit him in the hospital, and he's like, go away, I don't want you here. Well, I brought you a CD player. I don't need it. All right, I'm going to leave it here on the bed in case you want something to listen to. And I'm coming back tomorrow. I don't want you here. I don't care. I'm your daughter. I'm going to come back every day. You're going to see me every day from here on out. Just, that's how it is. I don't want to talk about my disease. Great, because neither do I. And we can talk about whatever you want. So from that moment on, I was with him every day. For the next 5 months, I was pretty close. And he went back home. He was obviously declining. But every day, we would have our afternoon snack together, which was mostly bread and olive oil. We would sing together, learn things, Google things, talk about philosophy and psychology, not so much psychology, but history. And I would tell him about my life. And at this point, I had a captive audience because he couldn't go anywhere. But we were back to what we were, because we were, again, those 2 rascals who go on crazy adventures, except for it was just inside of his living room and not out in the world because he couldn't leave the house anymore. But we were back to being us. And music brought us back together because we were playing music every day. And the thing that broke us is the thing that brought us back together and provided a lot of entertainment and healing. And I thought, had I been a doctor, like a real doctor, practicing physician, I wouldn't have had the time to spend with him and to accompany him on this journey for the last 5 months of his life. And B, I would have probably been like professional, like, oh, let's look at charts, let's figure out things. And I was like, I knew enough to know that there was nothing else to do. And C, I was a happy person. And so I was able to just be with him, and I was able to just spend time with him and share however long he had left. And that's what we did. And it was magical. And it was healing. Obviously, it didn't heal his disease because he died after 5 months, but it healed us. It healed our relationship. And it healed me, and it made me think that it's never too late to heal. And things turn around. The more authentic, the more beautiful, the closer you are to the person you are supposed to be, the better you can be for the people around you. And you can provide healing and real presence. And it's never too late to heal a relationship. If there's one step that you can take today to get closer to your dream self, take it. It's never too late to follow the sound of your feet, to heal a relationship, to heal yourself, to get one step closer to the person that you were supposed to be, that you are supposed to be, your true, authentic self. Been told too many times I should dance and sing and rhyme, but this is my chance to do my own dance. I don't care if it's right, it may as well be wrong, but it's mine and mine alone. I wanna dance my way, I dance my way, no one can take that away. It's my time to play, that's why I dance, I dance, I dance my way. I wanna dance my way, I dance my way, no one can take that away. It's my time to play, that's why I dance, I dance, I dance.